What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Daz Reacts back with another video. Today we have who's the go at every position. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Road to 200 subscribers. Link to the original will be in the description. Shout out to Nonstop Sports. Let's get right into it.
When people are arguing the NBA GOAT debate, there is always a clash and difference in opinions. Different basketball rules, different teammates and competitions, and many other factors make any GOAT equation extremely complicated to solve. It's hard to compare errors, and it's hard to compare players that play different positions. So we decided to go around
This is something that I feel like the NBA needs to go in this direction anyway. Instead of having a GOAT debate, have a positional debate. Like Magic and Curry's a lot closer than people think. Shooting guard, Jordan got that clearly. Small forward, LeBron got that one. Power forward, that's a big position up for grabs. Tim Duncan, KG, you could argue Dirk. More so, you could argue who's number 2 at that one. Centers, you got Wilt, Hakeem, Kareem. Like, so many options. So, like, I feel like we should move into that direction anyways of more, like, positional debates. But let's see what
and made a list of greatest players for all 5 positions in basketball.
So it's like he's just going to give the GOAT and that's it.
Point guard.
Magic, yeah.
The internet has spoken and decided that the best point guard, and without any doubt, the greatest player of all time, is Mr. Alex Caruso, aka the Bald Mamba. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, we have to say that the actual greatest point guard is another Lakers legend who is maybe not as popular online, but has just a tiny bit more impressive resume. 9 NBA Finals in 11 seasons, with 5 titles, 3 finals, and 3 regular seasons MVPs, and the best assists per game average. Magic has the thickest CV of any point guard who ever played. Before Magic suited up for the
And then, like, you gotta think,
Lakers,
too, he was... Before Magic, there wasn't really many tall point guards like him. You could argue that he paved the way for that.
was widely regarded that you can't win a championship with a point guard as your best player. Magic immediately changed that narrative as a
And
rookie,
I never knew that. That was the narrative. Oh, yeah, if you think about it, that was the narrative. Because all before,
home the final.
teams' best players would be Kareem, Bill Russell. The league didn't become guard heavy before him. It was more big man dominance heavy.
MVP trophy.
And
Magic
even
had
after him
everything
for a
you want
while,
in a
like
franchise
Shaq
point
and
guard.
all of them.
He was extremely talented and a clear-cut leader. He was flashy yet efficient. His smile could light up the entire arena, and he was one of the main draws for increasing the popularity of the NBA in the 80s.
Yeah, him versus... Like, people argue, like, oh, LeBron... When LeBron retired, there not being a clear best player could possibly ruin it. But I'd argue...
which point guard
I'd argue that when Bird and Magic was playing and at their peak, it wasn't a clear cut who was better out of the two of them. Like, some would probably debate, oh, Larry's better than Magic, and vice versa. And like, even when people make a top 10 list, your top 5 consists of LeBron, Michael. Some will put Kareem in there still, but my point is, Magic and Larry would be right behind each other usually. Like, if you got Magic at 3, Larry's at 4. If you got him at 4, the other is at 5. So
5 aliens came from Moron Mountain and the fate of the world depended on a 5-on-5 basketball game, I wouldn't select Magic in my 5. I would select Steph Curry. While Magic definitely is the best passer of all time and has the most titles and MVPs, he needs the ball to be effective, which would take the ball from the other players in my top 5. With Steph, there is no such problem. With his perpetual running,
yeah, like
Steph's
I said in the
movement
intro,
creates
I think Curry and Magic is a lot closer than people think.
havoc for the opposing defenders, even if he doesn't touch
Honestly.
the ball. And you have to go after his runs, because if you don't, you'll give an open
Because
shot
like
to the
Curry's
greatest shooter.
overall impact of him scoring, his off the ball game is very underrated. What else about like Steph overall impact, greatest shooter of all time. Some would even argue scorer in general, but I just say shooter. I give KD that edge for greatest scorer, but
Whoever
there's a lot of good stuff about
3
Curry.
is more than 2, which the whole basketball world figured out sometime in 2015 thanks to Steph and his Splash brother, who changed basketball forever. With 3 titles, 2 MVPs, and probably 5 or 6
The
good
first
years
unanimous
left, Curry could
MVP. I
still
know
jeopardize-
this should have been LeBron, man, or it should have been this person. Like, but he was the first person to actually do it. So Hey,
Magic's position at the point guard throne. A man who must get honorable mention is John Stockton,
Too
the
high.
all-time leader in assists and steals,
high.
2 records that
I mean, I
will
guess you got to
never be
give him
broken.
his
Standing
credit
just
though.
at 6'1" and looking like a high
guess
school
you gotta give him
teacher,
his credit.
John Stockton did everything at a high level. He was a surgically precise floor general, a pesky defender, and above-average shooter. Shooting guard. The best
Jordan.
shooting guard and a player that many
Kobe.
consider the best
Gotta
ever
mention
is
Wade,
Michael
too.
Jordan. After he hit the shot against Georgetown and graduated from Mike to Michael, MJ went on to be the most spectacular one-man show in the NBA. Playoff record 63 in the Garden, dunk contest extravaganza with Dominique, and the shot over Elo are just the tip of the highlights Jordan produced in the 80s. By the time the 90s rolled around, MJ had won all the individual awards he could have, and some considered him the GOAT even before his first title.
That's
In
crazy.
the words of
Like,
Jay-Z,
he was considered the GOAT before his first ring. You had to have been an impactful player.
Mike was losing to Isaiah, but he soon would get his 6th one. And when he made that last shot over Russell, there was little to no doubt that Michael is the greatest shooting guard who ever touched a basketball. Honorable mention to discredit
Definitely
MJ
RP
as
to
the
Kobe,
GOAT.
man. It's like the whole world stopped that day. Everybody knew what they was doing when they got when they knew.
And even though he was one title short, he was undoubtedly a true incarnation of Jordan.
Yeah, he was.
Kobe was the biggest worker in basketball history and probably the most skilled scorer ever.
That's why Kobe's my favorite. His skill, like I said, like Kobe wasn't gifted to be the strongest or the fastest, but his work ethic is one that it can be used not just on a basketball level, but all aspects
Bryant,
of
the
life.
third best shooting guard has to be D Wade.
Dwayne
Even though
Wade
his
third,
knees
yep.
sapped his prime, while he was in that prime, he was flash, and he was faster than any defender. With a killer first step and a body that resembled an NFL player, D Wade single-handedly turned the 06
he was only
Finals
like, what,
to Miami's
6'3",
favor
6'4",
and brought them their
but his-
first title in a Jordan-esque manner. After that, he was the perfect Robin to LeBron's Batman for 2 more Larry O'Briens and then rode into the sunset in the county named after him. His final landing on the commentator's desk could be better, but we'll let that one slide.
That his signature. Yeah,
Small forward. LeBron James is on
KD
the
and
basketball
Kawhi,
Mount
maybe?
Rushmore, and he is
Small
slowly
forward
but
is kinda
surely
hard to
closing the
do.
gap on Jordan in the GOAT debate. The gap seemed insurmountable after he botched the 2011 NBA Finals, which is basically the only bad playoff series in his career. Oh, it was easy to hate LeBron then, especially after the decision and the not 1, not 2, not 3 Kings landing in Miami. After Dirk gave him that public punch in the gut, LeBron disappeared and reincarnated from King James to King Midas because everything
King
he touched
Midas.
after 2011 turned to gold. He went to every final. He ended Cleveland's 52-year title drought, and he became
That's when
a
people started
Jordan-like
calling him
leader,
the GOAT for real.
understanding he's the best player in the world. In year 17, he is still going strong, and barring injury, he'll have the GOAT statistical output and will likely retire as the all-time leading scorer and top 5 in
could see it.
assists. Apart from that, he became a media mogul, created modern player empowerment, and has the most respected voice in basketball when it comes to social activism and fighting for human rights.
You can say what you want. Oh yeah, Larry's second. What was I thinking? Yeah, KD and Kawhi are probably third and fourth. Oh goodness, no, Kawhi might not even be fourth yet. All right, but back to LeBron. You can say what you want about the decision. It kind of empowered the players to really realize that they don't have to play on the same team their whole career.
Honorable mention goes to Larry Bird, who many people considered the best small forward ever after Bron had won 2 in Miami, and they had plenty of argument. More titles, similar stats, and all-around skill set wasn't any worse than LeBron's, and Larry was, and always will be, a better shooter than James. However, when James blocked Iguodala and won his 3rd, Larry had to slide to the number 2 spot on the all-time list, and he might even slide to number 3 or 4 because KD and Kawhi are not done yet and could enhance their all-time status with a few more rings. KD's combination of size, length, dribbling, and shooting touch is unparalleled, and he is surely top 5 scorer ever, if not higher. Kawhi, on the other hand, is top 5 wing defender ever, who also became an efficient scorer on all levels, and could become the first player winning Finals MVP with 3 different teams. Power forward.
Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan is the most complete power
Dirk
forward
second
ever
for
played.
me,
There were
and
more
KD's
athletic power
third.
forwards than him, more mobile, and some who were stronger. but nobody was as versatile as Timmy, who had the best resume of them all with most rings, wins, and all NBA selections. The big fundamental never made an excess move, and everything he did was methodical and efficient. A post-up powerhouse and a capable mid-range threat, Timmy was extremely hard to guard in his prime. Defensively, prime Timmy was guarding everything under the sun, and the whole Spurs defensive strategy revolved around channeling guards and forwards towards the basket, where a big fella from the Caribbean would wait with his perfect positioning, nimble feet, and 7'5" wingspan. In 2003 NBA Finals against the Nets, Duncan averaged a staggering 5.3 blocks per game to go along with 24 points, 17 rebounds, and 5 assists, which perfectly shows his brilliance and versatility. If he didn't play for the Spurs, he could have had even more gaudy numbers, but no Spurs fan will complain about his 5 rings in 6 finals and more wins than any other franchise during Duncan's 19 years in San Antonio. When we are talking about other great power forwards, in my book, KG had all the tools Timmy had. Offensively, he was also a post-up powerhouse with a dependable mid-range and an occasional three.
I think his one ring is more valuable than KG's one ring. We can all agree rings matter, but certain rings matter more than others. Dirk overall impact for the forward position, he was like the original stretch big, so
which was rare at the time. On defense, he was the most switchable 7-footer who ever played, and only the fastest
but his
point guards
defense
could pass
was
by
better
his huge
than
body and long arms.
Than Dirk's.
If the
That's
Wolves
the one
didn't
thing I
waste
will
his
give
prime with mediocre teams, he could have won more than one championship. We also can't forget about Charles Barkley.
No love to
played
Dirk,
like he was 6'10", and he was only 6'5". Mobile, agile, hostile. Barkley was the best power forward in the world for many years. Only a prime Jordan cut his championship dream short in a series that could have easily swayed in Barkley's favor. Then there's also Karl Malone, the second leading scorer ever, and another victim of Jordan's. Unstoppable on the block and deadly in transition, Karl Malone was a complete package. And last but not least,
I'm about to say, man,
we redefined the meaning of power forward. A 7-footer with a shooting touch. Dirk is another member of 30K Scorers Club.
Malone 4th and Barkley 5. That's
and
my
his
top
playoff
5.
run with Dallas in 2011 is one of the best playoffs anyone's ever played. Center. Most people remember Kareem as a balding center that helped the Lakers win 5 championships alongside Magic. Even then, Jabbar was one of the best centers in the NBA. However, when Kareem was in his prime in the 70s with a full head of hair, he was the best and most complete player in the league. Jabbar was extremely agile for a 7'1" frame and was regularly averaging 30 points and 15 rebounds. If blocks were measured in the first 4 seasons of Kareem's career, that would surely put him in the front of that category as well. Of course, Mr. Skyhook is the NBA all-time leading scorer and the most decorated center in NBA history. 4 titles in high school, 3 NCAA championships.
1 championship all 4 years of high school. That's crazy. NCAA
6
champion 3
NBA
years. I don't know if he played
and
4
6
years of college or
MVPs.
just 3.
Mr. Jabbar must have a pretty large trophy room to fill all that in. However, just like Magic, I wouldn't put Kareem in my fantasy top 5. I'd go with 2000 and 2001 Shaq because that man was a monster. With 330 pounds of pure muscle, prime Shaq attack had to be
me, Hakeem's a better player than Shaq, but Hakeem, not Kareem. Hakeem is a better player than Shaq, but Shaq overall dominance got him.
2 players, and most of them would need ice packs all over their body after battling Big Diesel in the post. During the Lakers three-peat, O'Neal averaged 30 and 15 in the playoffs and was by far the most dominant player in the league, whose dominance caused a shift in the rules and paved the way for pace and space era we see today. In this era, if I pick the best center for my top 5, I'd go with Hakeem Olajuwon, who is the most skilled center ever. Officially first in blocks and the only center in top 10 in steals. Hakeem was playing the center position like a guard. With an array of crossovers, spins, dream shakes, and a great jump shot, he'd easily dominate on offense. And defensively, he'd be mobile enough to catch up with faster play and switching we see in today's game. Of course, we also have to mention Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain to round the top 5 center list.
Hey, but great video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Roll to 200 subscribers. And we out. Peace.